What is up, everybody? It is I, Ronin, doing something a little bit different today because turns out on YGO Pro right now, all the duelists are like Brandish, as we have here, Blackwing, new stuff, or Extra Link, and if they can't do it in the first turn, Scoop. So we're here to actually talk about some Brandish maidens. Now, not the deck profile of this, though. If you want that, let me know. I can get it out. We have these guys out for reference. But I've noticed that a lot of people are talking about how this is the best deck in the format, or one of them, based on the most recent YCS. I think it was New Jersey. They're like the third most prevalent deck in the top 32, so they definitely prove their mettle as a pure deck. But anyways, I want to talk about why they are so good. What makes Branch Maidens or Sky Strikers, depending on what you want to call them. For the video, I'm going to call them Brandish Maidens because that's kind of what's popping up as all the card names. What makes them such a good deck? And I think that it really comes down to response power, and not necessarily like I can respond to your plays, chain, and cancel like Stun deck, but like there's no play style that they don't have the ability to, get around for the most part. There's a few things here and there that get them, but few and far between. So, what makes me say this? Well, I say this because they just have so many utility cards, and considering that they're so spell card heavy, you can run just a bunch of generic staple cards, and it contributes to your overall strategy, which, in all honesty, I think is kind of what Noble Knights were supposed to be, which is get a boss monster out, then use your main deck spells to sort of enhance the use of that boss monster. So, yeah, just a few examples. Like, okay, one problem that the deck has is it has trouble getting over big monsters. Well, you have Afterburner for that. You playing against a back row heavy deck, jamming wave. Need to you need to protect yourself. You got Eagle Booster. It's just a problem monster that you can't get around for whatever reason. Maybe you don't have Afterburner. Okay, you have Widow Anchor. What else do you need? You didn't get him. You didn't get your Ray in your opening hand. Well, you have Reinforcement of the Army, or you have you have Reinforcement of the Army, or you have Hornet Bit to get out your Link monster. So, someone playing heavy from the graveyard, problem cards there. Boom, Shark Cannon right there for you. Sorry. You gain too much back row because you overprepared. You can clear things off with Area 0, or with... Wow, sorry, I'm not sure what's going on with me right now. Or multi-roll. And multi-roll, most importantly, makes it so your opponent can't respond to your spell cards with like a hand trap or whatever. And it's just like, okay, so the point is, there's very few things this deck can't deal with. There's stuff like mass banishing, just shutting down spell cards that handles it, but generally speaking, decks like that are more rogue than anything, so it's just like, it's just very difficult to play around because more than likely this deck is going to play around you. And again, the fact that it's so spell card based means you can run different things just to sort of augment your strategy a little to get around problem cards as a pure deck. Like, pretty sure I have it in here. Where is it? Like, example. One problem that Brandish has is big monsters like, alright, let's go with Ancient Gear Chaos Giant. Let's pull it up. Or Chaos Ancient Gear Giant. Wow, okay. Let's pull it up real fast so we have a point of reference. Okay, so here we have Chaos Ancient Gear Giant. Generally speaking, it beats the whole deck of Brandish Maiden because it's immune to spell cards and they don't have the monster effects to remove it. So, that's... Unless, of course, you manage to get, like, I don't know, I counted up, I think it was like 35 spell cards in your graveyard. That way you can crash with one of your link monsters, but that's a pretty tall order to fill, and by that point you've probably lost or won anyways. But basically, this card is a problem. Not much can get over it. But you can augment your strategy with stuff like limiter removal. So, say your opponent has this out, you can go into Kagari, limiter removal, whatever spell cards you have in your graveyard will power you up even more. Then at the end of the turn, before limiter removal's effect takes place, you can move into Shizuku, get your searches, all that stuff. And you know what? If your opponent has this, let's say, for example, you don't have liver removal, or you sided it, you're playing a single game, things just, something like this, something immune to targeting, whatever. You can't beat over it. It's unaffected by card effects. All that kind of stuff. You have your opponent's monsters just untouchable in the way that you kind of have to beat it in battle, or you don't beat it at all. Your opponent just has something like that on the board. And you don't have limiter removal because, well, these are machines, but their effects generally don't want limit removal. Well, you can put in something like Magical Explosion, like I have here, because you have so many spell cards going into your graveyard, you can get some serious damage off with this. But, I don't know. So, just in conclusion, I think this deck is a good deck because it can play around most things, and anything that it cannot play around on its own, there's plenty of generic support to sort of get you back into the spot where you need to be. So, I don't know, let me know what you think about Pure Brandish Maidens. Let me know if you think that they will remain an extremely powerful deck into the future. And just any other thoughts, like, comment, subscribe. This has been Ronin, signing off.